I feel like Christmas stories are a great way to explore darkness, but find the hope within the darkness.
Under the moon, past the sleeping giants, up the pointy mountain. We'll get there. I know we will. Nicholas! Hold on, Mika!
The actual idea for the book came from my son when he was about 7 years old, because he was having difficulties getting to bed on time and he had his night fears and he'd always ask tons of questions. And one of his questions towards Christmas time was, what was Father Christmas like as a boy? And I didn't have an answer, but I went away and wrote the answer. And I was in a very weird place in my career because I'd just written a book called Reasons to Stay Alive about depression and mental health and, you know, my experience with suicidal depression when I was younger. And so I was kind of wanting to write against that. I was wanting to write the opposite of that. So a children's story about Father Christmas seemed to be the opposite of that. Although, obviously, when I wrote it, I mean, it's not 100% sweetness and candy cane. It's a story about grief and loss and how you find hope after those things. So it deals with themes, but very much in a children's storybook kind of way. When you're writing for that sort of age, you kind of naturally adopt a kind of storytelling voice, which is a kind of nice thing to escape into. And it was a nice feeling to write. And it was just very therapeutic.
No, we're doomed.
You know, I didn't grow up in a religious family. This was very much a secular Christmas story, you know, which is already having a few YouTube comments about, well, you know, where's Jesus? And you know, so this is very much a sort of Christmas story that's made for, you know, people like the child I was. And yeah, but it's still a book about those themes of hope and giving and kindness. And, you know, it's hopefully not, even though it is about Father Christmas, it's not a materialistic message about Father Christmas. It's about, you know, it's about the good things. It's about the sort of thinking of other people's side of things.
What is this?
This is a Christmas party.
Is Cake City? No idea what this Christmas thing is, but I love it.
I'll tell you the honest truth. I've had some of my worst experiences ever at Christmas time. I mean, certainly when I was younger, in my 20s, even parts where I was in recovery and not really going through depression, Christmas would sort of trigger things and send me back. I mean, Christmas is problematic for a lot of people in terms of mental health anyway, because excess alcohol, different routines, seeing family members that they may not want to, or remembering family members they've lost. But that said, in terms of like, I really remember as a child feeling like a literal magic setting in sort of mid-November onwards about Christmas. And it wasn't necessarily about the reality of the Christmas I would have, but it was just something hopeful about it, a sort of collective experience.
Paddington! There's magic in you!
It's easy to imagine the whole world is having this amazing festive party that you're not invited to. But, you know, if you look at the stats on these things, it really is the case that this is one of the most problematic times of years for people's mental health. There are millions of people who are in the same boat, and there's never been more ways to be able to reach out and find those people via the internet or whatever. As with any kind of mental health crisis that's related to a time of year or whatever, it's really important to remember that it's a transient, temporary situation, but other people are also in that boat with you. Don't worry about people thinking you're boring if you want to keep your routine going or any of those things. You know, and concentrate on the things about Christmas that anyone can identify with, you know, just the sort of caring aspect, the giving aspect. You don't have to drown in the whole sort of like, you know, the John Lewis aspect of Christmas.